sheer surprise from both players and coaches in the playoffs when Lamar Jackson didn't play. Now, the Ravens have been clear, though, that they are hopeful and they plan to have Lamar long-term, fully guaranteed deals at a higher per-year clip than what Deshaun Watson got, which is $46 million a year guaranteed.
Oh man, it is not looking good at this point. As a matter of fact, it keeps getting worse and worse. And it makes a lot of sense why. If you pay attention to both sides of the Lamar Jackson contract negotiation, it does make sense why this is taking so long. And there is a chance that no deal gets done between the two anyway. So we're going to take you through everything. I'm going to update you guys on everything. Before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We're on the grind to 1 million subscribers, man. So if you watch my content and you haven't hit that sub button, I'd appreciate it. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! So many of my subscribers listened to me and made bank on the Super Bowl, bro. Remember when I told you to sign up with my promo code Mikerophone to get a $100 deposit match? And then said this? And if Kenneth Gainwell gets more than 21.5 rush yards, you could 3x your money. Now, if you feel really good about this, you could also add Travis Kelce scoring 1 touchdown. And if both of these hit, you 5x your money. Well, a lot of you guys slid into my DMs on Instagram to show me how much money you made because of this hit. So huge shout out to all of you, man. I only have my promo code live for 2 more weeks, so I'm still gonna be posting my picks onto my Instagram account at The Flight Mike, and we're definitely gonna make some picks for the XFL and the USFL. And I post NBA picks onto my Instagram story on a daily basis. So make sure you sign up with my promo code Microphone to get a $100 deposit match while it's still active. And thank you, Prize Picks, for making us all a bunch of money on Super Bowl Sunday. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The Lamar Jackson situation would have been easily resolved if the Baltimore Ravens paid Lamar Jackson the moment he was eligible for a contract extension. Unfortunately, that's not what they did. Every single time you have a quarterback that you are certain that you want to extend, it's in your best interest to extend him immediately. Unless if you're the Denver Broncos and you just traded for Russell Wilson, there's no reason why you need to pay him as the second highest paid player in the entire NFL. But that's what they ended up doing, and there's really no turning back at that point. But in the case of the Baltimore Ravens, they had the opportunity to extend Lamar Jackson a while ago. They could have paid him in the ballpark of Deshaun Watson's first contract, not his second contract that's screwing everything up, which we'll get to in a sec, but his first contract that was kind of similar to Patrick Mahomes' contract, something that's a little bit more digestible. Fortunately, that's not what the Baltimore Ravens ended up doing. They dragged it on, and what made it even more difficult is Lamar Jackson is representing himself. Unfortunately for the Baltimore Ravens, on top of that, Deshaun Watson ended up getting extended throughout that time, which is, by the way, one of the most bizarre and unprecedented moves that I think we have ever seen. And I'm going to say this over and over again because every time I announce Deshaun Watson's contract, I say it's bizarre, I say it's unprecedented, I say it's an overpay. There's a reason for that. Deshaun Watson got a contract extension the same time, the same offseason as Patrick Mahomes did. He signed a 4-year, $177.5 million contract extension with $111 million guaranteed in the summer of 2020. And then a bunch of controversy ended up happening. I mean, he demanded a trade. Then, of course, the allegations came out. Next thing you know, he is the best player that is available with a ton of baggage that comes along with him. Originally, Deshaun Watson was going to get traded to either the Panthers, the Saints, or even the Atlanta Falcons. And in the end, the Cleveland Browns ended up giving up one of the craziest hauls I've ever seen. If you think the Russell Wilson trade was crazy, remember, the Browns gave up first-round picks in 2022, 2023, 2024, a third-round pick in 2023, a fourth-round pick in 2022 and 2024, and then they decided to sign Deshaun Watson to a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract. Fully guaranteed. That's more than twice as much guaranteed from his contract a couple of years prior. This is just after one remarkable season with the Houston Texans, which you have to give him credit for that. This was the season season where the Texans traded away DeAndre Hopkins, and he still put out an MVP caliber season. So the Cleveland Browns essentially decided that we're going to give up any opportunity we have to contend for a Super Bowl for the future just so we could get a quarterback that people won't laugh at. That's exactly what they did. They don't have first round picks over the next 3 years. Deshaun Watson has an unprecedented cap hit that kicks in this year, by the way. If you remember in the videos last year, I said that the Browns only have one season to really capitalize on having Deshaun Watson on the team and making it to the Super Bowl, because after that, his cap hit balloons to $55 million. Good luck building a team around Watson over the next couple of years. This is one of those takes that I feel very strongly about. There's no way, shape, or form that the Browns will ever contend for a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson under center on that cap hit, on that contract, unless if it gets restructured, which I don't see him doing. I essentially saw this as a gigantic money grab for Watson, and I don't really blame him. But unfortunately, that kind of screws over the teams that have very good players that do want to win a Super Bowl with said players. A team such as the Baltimore Ravens, who did a remarkable job building around Lamar Jackson this past season. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say,
Mike, he doesn't have any good wide receivers.
Yeah, but you have to understand that John Harbaugh essentially took the same exact scheme that Jim Harbaugh ran with the San Francisco 49ers a decade ago and pretty much swapped Colin Kaepernick for Lamar Jackson. He has the same offensive coordinator. He built a suffocating defense around Lamar Jackson. And the concept is very simple, very zone run heavy, with the ability of his quarterback to take the top off whenever you overcommit to him, and playing suffocating defense. It worked wonderfully. You don't necessarily need the top of the line in wide receivers to do that, and it's not really a system that benefits wide receivers well. It didn't end up resulting in any Super Bowls or Super Bowl appearances, so the Ravens decided to fire Greg Roman, or parted ways with him. And originally they said that they wanted Lamar Jackson to be involved in the next offensive coordinator that they hire. And then a couple weeks later, it seems like, according to multiple of our sources, Lamar Jackson has not been involved in this conversation at all whatsoever. They haven't asked his input at all whatsoever. Why is that? Well, it looks like they're getting more and more pessimistic about Lamar Jackson's contract and their ability to work something out. Now, I know what you guys are thinking.
Mike, I don't get it. Lamar Jackson good. He won an MVP. Why don't the Baltimore Ravens just extend him?
Recently, the NFL has finally caught up to the fact that you can't overpay your quarterback and then win a Super Bowl. Quarterback contracts have gotten so inflated, and wide receiver contracts are starting to get there too, by the way. They've gotten so freaking inflated to the point where it's painfully obvious that you can't max out a contract and win a Super Bowl unless your quarterback's Patrick Mahomes. And prior to that, I can't even remember a quarterback coming even close to winning a Super Bowl while being on a max contract. You can make the argument Matthew Stafford the year prior, but he was the 12th highest paid quarterback. You get what I'm saying. So as a result of this, I actually feel the same way about Jalen Hurts potentially and the Philadelphia Eagles. I've praised the Philadelphia Eagles roster construction all year long, even as a Dallas Cowboy fan. And I love Jalen Hurts. His story, I really am happy that he was able to get his team to the Super Bowl. I'm excited that he's going to get paid a huge sum of money. But a part of me is also thinking, okay, he's going to get paid a huge sum of money. That defense is probably going to look a little weaker, and they're going to have to strip down their team a little bit because more of that capital is going to a quarterback that originally was getting paid pennies on the dollar because he was on a rookie scale contract, and he was drafted in the second round, so you can't really drag on his contract any extra time, any extra years. So I hope I'm wrong. I really like Jalen Hurts, but this is just my own philosophy in terms of building a team. It's why I think the Dallas Cowboys don't really have a real shot, because they allocated a significant amount of funds to Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. Dak Prescott's cap hit looks very ugly this year, and you're going to see the Cowboys gut out their team even more so. We have videos on the New York Giants coming out soon because they're in a similar situation with Daniel Jones wanting $45 million. So if you want a video on that next, let me know in the comment section, but I digress. The issue here isn't the fact that Lamar Jackson is selfish, because when you look at quarterbacks of his caliber, rambling quarterbacks that make tremendous plays with their legs, there's a question about how sustainable that is long term. You look at what happened to Cam Newton. He didn't really have as long of a career as a player like, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady. I mean, no one did as long as Tom Brady, but you get what I'm saying. A quarterback that gets physical quite consistently has a shorter shelf life in the NFL. Like the great Darren Sproles said, if you want to last a long time in the NFL, get hit as little as possible. That's not the type of style of play that Lamar Jackson plays with. So from his perspective, he's looking at Deshaun Watson's contract and is saying,
yo, this guy didn't do for the Cleveland Browns. He came over, stole 3 of your first-round picks, multiple of your late-round draft picks, and you guys gave him a fully guaranteed max contract.
Meanwhile, the team that was formerly the Cleveland Browns, but eventually relocated and rebranded, the Baltimore Ravens,
which I won an MVP for, which I took them to the playoffs, which I won a playoff game for,
isn't willing to match that amount. What's crazy is, apparently, the Baltimore Ravens actually gave Lamar Jackson over a 5-year, $250 million contract in September that included $133 million guaranteed. See the situation we're in. This is a huge situation for all NFL teams, and I don't necessarily know if every NFL team is going to get hip to this right away, because you have some NFL teams that are looking at their rosters and say, hey, look, our quarterback is great, but I don't want to give up 40% of our salary cap to this one quarterback because our chances of winning a Super Bowl diminish greatly if we do that. You're able to do it with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes lost Tyreek Hill as a result of his cap hit, but still was able to win a Super Bowl. Quarterbacks like that are very rare. So in this instance, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you have to be asking yourself, what's better to do? Do we take our existing quarterback and match Deshaun Watson's contract and handicap us severely in any attempt for us to win a Super Bowl? Or do we take Lamar Jackson and trade him to a team? I'm not going to get into the franchise tag talk because the franchise tag is like an assumed step. Whether it's going to be exclusive or non-exclusive will convey a lot about what the Ravens want to do with Lamar Jackson, but it's not a sustainable model in this situation. If you're the Baltimore Ravens at this point, would you rather pay 40% of your salary cap to Lamar Jackson, or would you rather take Lamar Jackson, trade him to a team that would happily trade for him, who is clearly not in the same type of philosophy with salary cap management, and get probably a Deshaun Watson-like haul back? If Watson got 3 first-round picks and multiple late-round picks, and that's after he was a year away from football, and that's after he clearly demanded a trade, how much would Lamar Jackson get in this situation? What could you get for him? You get 4 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks for any quarterback at all whatsoever, and then you could draft a quarterback on a rookie scale contract, and then you pair that with a very suffocating defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL since they traded for Roquan Smith, and then you have assets to build that offense even more so. Yes, there's a huge question mark. Who's the quarterback going to be? But I like your odds a little bit better in that situation than giving Lamar Jackson a contract that would allocate 40% of your team's salary cap to him and then not being able to upgrade other parts of your team. I don't blame Lamar Jackson for what he's asking. It makes a lot of sense in this scenario. The Baltimore Ravens made him look really good so far throughout his career. He's a huge draw. He's electric. He's exciting. He puts butts in those seats. I could watch Lamar Jackson highlights all day and night as a football fan. And he also understands that his style of play isn't sustainable. This is why Kyler Murray stamped his feet and asked for a contract extension last year. So I don't blame him for asking for this type of money. But if the Ravens give it to him, I don't see the Ravens winning a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson under center. You weren't able to do it when he was on a rookie scale contract. What makes you think you're going to be able to do it once you handicap yourself even further? Ravens' only option here is to trade him if there are suitors. It's a bold move. Ravens fan base won't like it, but if that's what he's asking for, you should trade him to a team that would happily pay him that amount. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about the situation. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.